Remember sometime back I promised you a little tour of my root cellar? Well, today I'm going to be making a carrot dish for a potluck that is local this Saturday. And I just wanted to start down here in the basement. Well, it's not actually a basement, it's kind of root cellar, and it is kind of chilly down here, and we keep the humidity up a little bit. There's a cupboard right there, but my husband built me these absolutely wonderful shelves, and as you know, this looks so wonderful. All those canned jars on that shelf, isn't that just amazing? We have yet another cupboard so we can keep the dust off of our canned goods, provided I've got a bigger garden this year and can more goodies. And here we have our empty jar storage. We use those little plastic buckets because we had to move a couple times because of the flood, and so we decided to get something to store those jars in. And we could store the finished canned goods in them too, but this is way more fun. Look at how beautiful that shelf is. See if I can get in a little closer here and give you a little closer look at what we're doing. Here we have my famous mean green hot sauce and some pickled beets and lots of dilly green beans, and of course my canned carrots, which is what I came down here to get. We have jars and jars of pickles because we love pickles, and we finally got it down pat. I think that's one lone jar of ketchup there. We have lots of grape jelly, compliments of Mary Van Sickle's wonderful grapes. We have regular green beans. We have sweet pickles up there. We have crushed tomatoes there. We have whole tomatoes on these two shelves. We love tomato soup. We have some pears and some apple pie filling there. And of course, the sauerkraut shelf hidden down here in the bottom in the biggest jars ever. We have wonderful sauerkraut. Now I'm going to tell you right now that I can see that year's sauerkraut did not turn out nearly as well as that year's sauerkraut. But we'll be eating it anyway. So, as I grab my 2 jars of carrots, meet me in the kitchen for a wonderful carrot au gratin dish that's simple and homemade. The very first thing that we have to do whenever you open a canned good, whether you buy it in the store or can it yourself, is wash off the top. You know it's full of dust. You don't want that dust to get into the jar when you open it up, so wash it off. Give it a dry wipe. Might make it easier to hold on to, you know, and wipe the rest of the dust off those jars. I pressure canned these carrots myself. Probably not last year, but the year before. Okay, first thing you want to do is, can you pop that top off with your fingers? Oh boy, oh boy. I can't. Do they look bad? Pretty much look like carrots can to me. I don't peel my carrots too, so you can see some of that gray from there. Very carefully pry that lid off and listen. Boy, I hope you could hear that. Look at that. Yeah, you gotta pry it off the jar. Smell? Oh God, they smell like wonderful carrots. Let's do this one. There was that noise. Ah, look at those. They smell wonderful. No mold, no nothing. I think we're good to go. So let's make carrots au gratin. All right, I've assembled some ingredients over there on the counter. We have 4 ounces of cheese chopped in blocks, 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 tablespoons of flour, 1 quart and 1 pint of carrots, and we have 3 slices of homemade sourdough bread. Why, you ask? Oh, and we need that strainer over there too. Because we're going to cut those up into little squares and make crunchy little croutons from the top of our wonderful cheesy carrot au gratin casserole. I'm going to toast my bread by just cutting it into little squares, and then no butter, no nothing, just put in the oven at 350 on the convected oven, maybe 300 on a regular oven, and just keep an eye on it. It'll toast on its own, and they'll be nice and crunchy, no added oils or fats. Then you want, let's raise the temperature here a little bit. We're going to make a roux for over the carrots. Now, for those of you who cook, a roux is the base of any white sauce or cream sauce or cheese sauce that you make. R-O-U-X if you want to look it up online. And all it simply is the thickener for the sauce. And so we're going to use some locally made butter. Ha ha. Sorry, I don't have any homemade butter. I had to use this stuff from the store, but it's mostly water. So we put our 3 tablespoons of butter and 3 tablespoons of flour into the pan. And then you take a little, like your favorite stir stick. I don't know why I prefer these wooden ones over the metal ones. The butter will melt. It will absorb the flour and create a really nice smooth paste. Now you have to make sure that you don't burn this, because browning that flour will create a totally different taste that you don't want. We actually use that brown to flour and lard roux for in bean soup in my house. But this is going to be basically the butter absorbing all the flour, and then that removes the flour taste and works as a thickener. Now you may, if you have gluten allergies in your house, there are thickeners that you can use, cornstarch and other such things, arrowroot maybe, but we don't have that, and we are putting those breadcrumbs on the top, so sorry about that. You'll have to make your own modifications. Ooh, can you hear it sizzling? See, it's kind of just making a nice creamy little paste. Don't burn it. When we make macaroni and cheese homemade, we cook the macaroni, we make a roux, we put milk in it, we add the cheese, we bake it in the oven, put a little jalapeno in there. Marvelous, darling, just marvelous. I forgot the hot sauce. You can't make a cheesy dish without hot sauce. Any kind of red hot sauce will do. I'm not going to tell you where I got this one from. If you buy it, you recognize the bottle. It can be Frank's, it can be Tabasco, it can be Schlotzsky's, it can be whatever you want. What it does is it kind of enhances the flavor of cheese. Now these won't be like incredibly cheesy carrots, but it really is a wonderful homemade dish and fairly easy to do. Okay, so now my flour and butter is kind of like bubbling. I want to make sure I don't see any grains of flour in there, that's been totally absorbed and not browned. Not browned, okay? Don't brown it. And then you want to, not to waste anything, strain the juice of the carrots into the butter mixture. Oops, I need a dish for carrots apparently. Save the carrots for later. Now one of the reasons I do it this way is because these carrots have been pressure canned, not water bath canned, pressure canned, and they have been thoroughly cooked. They always recommend that you heat them up. And I usually bake these in the oven so they reach a temperature that's high enough to kill off any potential ill bacteria germs in there, but don't worry about that. Okay, so now I'm going to let this come to a boil, and it should thicken up a little bit. I'm going to add no additional salt. Just some squirts of hot sauce in there. Your kids won't ever know that hot sauce is in there. It will make the cheese cheesier. Alright, so once that comes to a boil, look at that beautiful rosy, see it's starting to thicken up quite nicely. And some people would maybe make that thicker, some people maybe make that not that thick. I don't think that it matters. Now is when you want to add those little tiny chunks of cheese in there for that little bit of cheesy flavor. This is my opportunity to clean out my refrigerator, so I'm going to actually throw in a little bit of feta cheese. You could use cream cheese, you know, you could just experiment a little bit. Throwing the feta in there because it's been in there for quite a while. We don't like food to go to waste, do we? Ooh, boy, that is beautiful, beautiful. Look at that beautiful color. Can you see that beautiful color in there? Now, you can stir this as long as you want, but remember that cheese, we're going to bake this dish. See, I put the carrots in a little casserole dish. This is going to be transported, so I'm not going to completely complete this today. But what I'm going to do is then, once the cheese is melted and the sauce is all wonderful, I'm going to pour that back over the carrots. We're going to take it to Medina. We're going to put it in the oven and just reheat it. It doesn't have to be cooked very long, maybe half an hour at 350 or maybe only 20 minutes, probably about a half an hour. During the last 10 minutes, I'm going to put those breadcrumbs on the top of this dish so they can soak down into the juice a little bit. They can get nice and crunchy again and warmed up, and then we serve the casserole. See, wasn't that easy? That's living the life local. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see what we're going to come up with next week to show you how to live